Mika described incidents like this as normal, and that outsiders just had to take the Brzezinskis as they were. In other words, it is normal for an 11-year-old girl to have her hand on the crotch of the leader of one of the great rising world powers. No, it's not funny. I'm just, it's all so typical. When a typical girl of that age would have known better. Was this girl just dense, or was something else at work? At any rate, Mika describes this incident as just one awkward event during the many others, according to her own estimation. One wonders if these awkward incidents included a couple of high-ranking Japanese dignitaries. One could say that such an awkward encounter could be used to ply those dignitaries into an agreement with China that they otherwise would not have been able to accept. Remember the Chinese food on the table in the scene where Milik's daughter was entertaining the two Japanese men. Why do you suppose Kubrick included that in the scene? Why? In other words, I wondered that too. Why Chinese food with Japanese perversion? Japanese men engaged in sex with the owner's daughter, and Chinese food being on the table. What's the deal? Why do you suppose Kubrick included it in the scene? Kubrick is very subtle, and particularly when he wants to get a message across. True. Eyes Wide Shut has to be Kubrick's most misunderstood film. The unwashed masses, for the most part, rejected it as softcore porn. Of course. Are the unwashed masses stupid, or are they? No, they're not stupid. They know. Well, they're compartmentalized. Let's just put it that way. Oh, they're complicit. Absolutely, or it wouldn't be happening. That's my editorialization. Let me just continue this. Of course, there is much more to the film than anybody could comprehend. Same with Apollo 11. Same with The Shining, which was a story about Apollo 11. Kubrick's artistic and perfectionist nature would attest to this. There are also some intriguing details and anecdotes about the man that could attest to that as well. He is often described as paranoid, who once warned his script co-writer about including certain specific details in the script for fear of being arrested, and who repeatedly cautioned his family not to befriend dangerous, powerful people. Kubrick, of course, would die just 3 days after showing the finished product of Eyes Wide Shut to Warner Brothers executives. The man died as he had lived as an enigma. True that. There are, of course, the rumors that he was an individual with certain high-level government projects, but nothing that could be substantiated. And I think that's a reference to the Apollo 11 reveal he tried to do in The Shining. In other words, he was the director on We Never Went to the Moon. And that's what this guy doesn't quite believe that. With all the weird stories about Hollywood that you mentioned, Zeph, I wonder if this is one that has yet to be told. Yes, it has yet to be told. And my friend, I've just told it. I've read your letter. The letter demanded that I tell it. You put a lot of time into it. It deserved to be told. P.S. Micah's book is also chock full of what can only be described as strange screen memories, including, for whatever reason, finding dead deer carcasses lying about her house, seeing her mother frequently pick her up from school covered in blood, her mother, that is, and at least one admitted sexual assault that occurred when she was 13, in which the perp was never caught. Hard to believe when your father is one of the most powerful, high-ranking figures in intelligence in the world. A very bizarre book. Mika Brzezinski's autobiography. Okay, well, I have read the letter to you. That is what I intended to do. I did not intend to take up a lot of time here. And it's something to think about. It's something we'll be covering for sure. We'll be covering more about this and the connection to Hollywood. And one wonders really when the pedophile society of Hollywood is going to get popped. But then again, they're tied in with the communists, and the communists are all about that. So And yes, the murders that occur, being satanic ritual sacrifices, tend to make it difficult, especially when high figures of law enforcement attend. You understand the dilemma, yeah, I think by now. I hope this was interesting to you. This is Zeph Daniel, the Zeph Report, and I'll see you next time.
All right, I have a little addendum here. I forgot page 10. So let me go ahead and read that real quick. Perhaps more confirmation comes from Brzezinski's own daughter, Mika. Mika Brzezinski authored a book titled All Things at Once. That the title was during an interview that the title represents the different identities that she had throughout her life. When researching her experiences, background, and even photographs, I can only conclude that Mika is a very dissociated person who was most likely used for covert means, much like Bryce Taylor. Indeed, when one sees her photographs in her boots, photographs in her boots, one can see the signs of dissociation on her face are painfully obvious. It looks like boots. I may be wrong. In her something. Okay. Mika is most famously known as co-host to handler, Joe Scarborough of MSNBC. Prior to being on MSNBC, Scarborough was a Republican congressman from Florida. He had to resign, though, after a dead intern was found in his office. Who knows what else they have on him? He can frequently be seen shadowing Mika at special events and even interviews, despite the fact that she has a husband. It is quite possible that the identities Mika talks about in reference to her book are the very same kind of identities represented by the mannequins of at Rainbow Fashions, the MK Ultra kind.